Welcome, dear friends, to the Crimson Academy's course on the Kitáb-i-Aqdas. In this section, we're covering the Kitáb-i-Aqdas, the Law of God. In the early part of 1873, almost 5 years after his arrival in Akka, His Holiness Bahá'u'lláh, then confined in the house of Udi Kamar, revealed the Kitáb-i-Aqdas, the most holy book, regarded as the mother book of this dispensation, a book unique and incomparable among the world's sacred scriptures, designated by himself as the source of true felicity, the unerring balance, the straight path, the quickener of mankind, the river of mercy, the ark of his laws. To it the prophets of the past have alluded as the new heaven, the new earth, the tabernacle of God, the holy city, the bride, and the new Jerusalem coming down from God. The beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi has acclaimed it as the charter of Baha'u'llah's new world order and of future world civilization. This book, written in Arabic, the brightest emanation from the pen of the Most High, stands out from among all Baha'u'llah's writings as the mother book of his dispensation. Next to it in rank is the Kitáb-i-Aqdas, the Book of Certitude. Of the Kitáb-i-Aqdas, His Holiness Baha'u'lláh states, "This book is a heaven which we have adorned with the stars of our commandments and prohibitions. And again, verily it is my weightiest testimony unto all people, and the proof of the all merciful unto all who are in heaven and all who are on earth." As well as being the mightiest and most exalted of Baha'u'llah's writings, the Kitáb-i-Aqdas is from the literary point of view one of the most beautiful. It is matchless in its eloquence, unsurpassed in its lucidity, enchanting in its style, superb in its composition, and varied in its theme. Every sentence is simple and easily intelligible to the reader. It is impossible to suggest a better or more eloquent construction. It is the masterpiece of Baha'u'llah's utterances. Though basically a book of laws and ordinances, it is so revealed that its laws are interwoven with passages of spiritual counsel and exhortation, of weighty pronouncements and divine guidance. The manner in which this is done is unique and original. It fascinates the reader with its beauty and enchantment. Of it, His Holiness Baha'u'lláh speaks, "By my life, it hath been sent down in a manner that amazeth the minds of men." And in another passage he states, "By God, such is the majesty of what hath been revealed therein, and so tremendous the revelation of its veiled allusions, that the loins of utterance shake when attempting their description." In revealing the Kitáb-i-Aqdas, His Holiness Baha'u'lláh may be likened to a celestial bird, whose habitation is in the realm of the spirit, far above the ken of men, soaring in the spiritual heights of glory. In that station, His Holiness Baha'u'lláh speaks about spiritual matters, reveals the verities of his cause, and unveils the glory of his revelation to mankind. From such a lofty horizon, this immortal bird of the spirit suddenly and unexpectedly descends upon the world of dust. In this station, Baha'u'lláh announces and expounds laws. Then the bird takes its flight back into the spiritual domains. Here the tongue of grandeur speaks again with majesty and authority, revealing some of the choicest passages treasured in the Kitáb-i-Aqdas. The beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi translated a considerable number of these passages into superb English and included most of them in gleanings from the writings of Baha'u'lláh. The ascent and descent, the revelation of spiritual teachings on the one hand, and the giving of laws on the other, follow one another throughout the book. There seems to be no visible pattern for the interweaving of the two, nor is there any apparent connection between them. Baha'u'lláh, after expounding some of his choicest teachings, or revealing some of his counsels and exhortations, abruptly changes the subject and gives one or more laws, which outwardly seem not to have any relevance to the previous subject. Every major religion has had laws given by its founder, and these laws have played an important part in governing community affairs and guiding the lives of the individual believers. Judaism and Islam are the best examples. In the Christian faith, however, there are not many laws given by Christ, and because of this, it may be difficult for people of Christian background to appreciate the significance of religious laws and the vital role they play in the life of the community. Probably the reason why Christ did not reveal many laws for his followers is that his message was mainly directed towards individual salvation and left no major guidelines for community affairs. He laid emphasis on the spiritual health of the individual, as epitomized in his Sermon on the Mount, but left no laws to govern the activities of communities and nations and to define their relationship to others. The laws of every religion are valid and applicable until the next manifestation of God appears. After that, they become out of date and lose their effectiveness. People do not feel the urge to follow them. For instance, the laws of Moses were in accord with the spirit of the age until the appearance of Christ, when they became out of date. There are many laws in the Old Testament which were good for the age they were designed for and which were practiced over 1,000 years, but they are not applicable any longer. The laws of Islam, which were given by the Prophet Muhammad, were valid up to the time of the coming of the Bab. These laws were operative among the Islamic nations for about 1,300 lunar years. Ever since the revelation of the Kitáb-i-Aqdas, in which the laws of the new age were formulated, most of the laws of Islam have become inoperative. Not only have some of the Islamic governments been forced to abandon the application of Islamic laws in favor of civil laws, which they themselves have enacted, but the spirit of the new age manifesting itself both through constructive and destructive processes has so radically changed social circumstances that in many instances it has become impossible to implement the laws of Islam. The laws revealed in the Bayan by the Bab were designed to be short-lived. Some of them were incomplete, being either directly or by implication dependent upon the advent of him whom God shall make manifest. The laws of the Baha'i religion were abrogated by the revelation of the Kitab-i-Aqdas. Only a few of the laws given by the Bab were confirmed by Baha'u'lláh, and these were reinstated in that same book. Abdul-Baha has declared that those laws of the Bab, which were not confirmed in the Kitab-i-Aqdas, are to be considered as abrogated. In another tablet, he states that any law revealed elsewhere in the writings of Baha'u'lláh, if contrary to the laws of the Aqdas, is invalid, but those which are not contrary or are not mentioned in the Kitab-i-Aqdas are valid and binding. Indeed, as we survey the writings of Baha'u'lláh, we come across many tablets which contain some laws or deal with the elucidation and application of laws. Such tablets are regarded as supplementary to the Kitab-i-Aqdas. It is therefore clear that the Kitab-i-Aqdas on its own does not contain all the laws of Baha'u'lláh. After its revelation, Baha'u'lláh permitted Zainul Muqarrabin, one of his devoted companions, who was formerly a mujtahid, this is a doctor of Islamic law, and highly experienced in the application of Islamic law, to ask any questions he might have regarding the application of the laws of Bahá'u'lláh. The answers given by him are contained in a book known as Questions and Answers, which is to be regarded as an appendix to the Kitáb-i-Aqdas. In a tablet written by Mirza Agha Baha'u'llah's amanuensis, dated the 15th of Jamadayul Aval, the 1290, this is in the year July 11th, 1873, it is stated that the Kitab-i-Aqdas was revealed around that time. It also refers to the circumstances which led to its revelation. For some years, the believers had been asking questions about the laws of the faith, but Baha'u'lláh did not find it timely to respond to them. While in Adrianople, he revealed a number of laws in his Persian writings, but did not release them to the believers. Questions continued to come to him while in Akka, and when the time was propitious, His Holiness Baha'u'lláh revealed the Kitab-i-Aqdas. But from the beginning, he stressed to his followers the need to be discreet and wise in the implementation of his laws. He advised them not to practice any of its provisions, which might prove to be untimely or could cause agitation or disturbance among the people. Shortly after the revelation of the Kitab-i-Aqdas, Haji Sayyid Javad Karbila'i, a distinguished believer who was held in high esteem by the community, was anxious for the Baha'is to implement the laws of that book. In a tablet addressed to him, His Holiness Baha'u'lláh discloses the preeminent position which the Kitab-i-Aqdas occupies, refers to it as the most great magnet through which the hearts of the peoples of the world will be attracted, and prophesies that through it the majesty and sovereignty of God will ere long be made manifest. But he counsels Haji Sayyid Javad to exercise caution and wisdom in the implementation of its laws at that time. We share with you an extract from the above mentioned tablet to Haji Sayyid Javad. For a number of years, petitions reached the Most Holy Presence from various lands begging for the laws of God. But we held back the pen ere the appointed time had come. Thereupon the day star of the laws and ordinances shone forth from above the horizon of the will of God, as a token of his grace unto the peoples of the world. He verily is the ever forgiving, the most generous. Indeed, the laws of God are like unto the ocean, and the children of men as fish, did they but know it. However, in observing them, one must exercise tact and wisdom, since most people are feeble and far removed from the presence and purpose of God. Therefore, one must observe tact and prudence under all conditions, so that nothing might happen that could cause disturbance and dissension or raise clamor among the heedless. Verily, his bounty hath surpassed the whole universe, and his bestowals encompassed all that dwell on earth. One must guide mankind to the ocean of true understanding in a spirit of love and tolerance. The Kitab-i-Aqdas itself beareth eloquent testimony to the loving providence of God. In the same year the Kitab-i-Aqdas was revealed, His Holiness Baha'u'lláh allowed Jamala Burujiridi, who was then in Akka, to copy certain parts of it and share it with the friends in Persia. But again he emphasized wisdom and discretion in the application of its laws. It has already been explained that through their mercy and compassion, the manifestations of God do not announce all their new laws to their followers suddenly. Knowing man's strong attachment to old laws and customs, They introduce their new laws gradually over a period of time, during which their followers become enlightened and ready to receive them. The study of the writings of Baha'u'lláh and Abdul Baha makes it clear that most of the laws of the Kitab-i-Aqdas, apart from those which are of spiritual nature or in conformity with the conditions prevailing at a time, are designed for the future, when the Baha'i Faith becomes the religion of the land. It is then that these laws will be fully implemented within the framework of a new civilization, which is to emerge later from amidst the chaos and confusion of present day society. The beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi has described the laws of the Kitab-i-Aqdas as the warp and woof of Baha'u'llah's world order. Without these laws, mankind will not be able to take part in the establishment of the promised kingdom of God on earth. The world order of Baha'u'lláh, however, is still growing in its embryonic form. In the fullness of time, it will be born and will usher in an age the glories of which we in this day cannot fully visualize. An age in which the teachings of Baha'u'lláh will guide and govern the life of man on this planet. Then, and only then, will the wisdom and significance of all the laws of the Kitab-i-Aqdas become manifest, their relevance to the needs of the age become apparent, and their application become a vital necessity. Within the compass of 3 pages in God Passes By, the beloved guardian Shoghi Effendi has summarized the Kitab-i-Aqdas in such a masterly fashion that if studied carefully, the reader will know all the basic subjects that are contained in this exalted book. Dear friends, we share with you a summary enumerating some of the fundamental laws of this dispensation. In this book, he, moreover, prescribes the obligatory prayers, designates the time and period of fasting, prohibits congregational prayer except for the dead, fixes the Qibla, institutes the Huququllah, the right of God, formulates the law of inheritance, ordains the institution of the Mashal Askar, establishes the 19-day feasts, the Baha'i festivals, and the intercalary days, abolishes the institution of priesthood, prohibits slavery, asceticism, mendicancy, monasticism, penance, the use of pulpits and the kissing of hands, prescribes monogamy, condemns cruelty to animals, idleness and sloth, backbiting and calumny, censures divorce, interdicts gambling, the use of opium, wine, and other intoxicating drinks, specifies the punishment for murder, arson, adultery, and theft, stresses the importance of marriage, and lays down its essential conditions, imposes the obligation of engaging in some trade or profession, exalting such occupation to the rank of worship, emphasizes the necessity of providing the means for the education of children, and lays upon every person the duty of writing a testament and of strict obedience to one's government. There are some laws which Baha'u'lláh has not formulated in the Kitab-i-Aqdas or other tablets. He has deliberately left gaps in the structure of his laws, and these will have to be filled by the Universal House of Justice, the supreme legislative body of the faith, authorized by Baha'u'lláh to enact laws which are not explicitly revealed by him. The laws enacted by this body can be altered at a later time by the same body, when conditions in society will have radically changed, and this provision guarantees that laws which are temporary in nature may keep pace with humanity's progress. The laws that Baha'u'lláh has formulated, however, are fundamental laws, fixed and unalterable during the entire period of his dispensation. Only the next manifestation of God can abrogate them. It should be noted that there are certain laws given by Baha'u'lláh that are intended for a future condition of society, and these cannot be implemented without the necessary legislation by the Universal House of Justice for their application. The beloved guardian writes through his secretary, "What has not been formulated in the Aqdas, in addition to matters of detail and of secondary importance, arising out of the application of the laws already formulated by Baha'u'lláh, will have to be enacted by the Universal House of Justice. This body can supplement, but never invalidate or modify in the least degree what has already been formulated by Baha'u'lláh, nor has the guardian any